Hello viewers. Welcome to Elder Tree Legends channel, where we bring captivating and interesting stories. Please, kindly hit the like button, share and subscribe for more amazing stories. Now let's dive right in. Elowen sat in her cozy living room, the kind of place that felt like a warm hug with its soft cushions and colorful quilts. But today, the house was too quiet, like it was holding its breath. Her husband, Thane, had been gone for 2 years now, taken by a sickness that left Elowen's heart feeling like a puzzle with missing pieces. At 78, she had silver hair that sparkled like moonlight, and her hands, though wrinkled, still loved to paint pictures of flowers and sunny hills. But lately, her paintbrushes stayed dry, and her days felt heavy, like carrying a backpack full of stones. Elowen's son, Gideon, lived just a town away with his kids, Saffron and Torin. They called sometimes, but their voices always sounded rushed, like they were racing to hang up. Elowen tried to stay cheerful, thinking, they're just busy, that's all. She sent them money when they asked. Saffron needed help with rent, and Torin had big dreams about a new business. Elowen wanted to help her family, even if it meant her savings were shrinking like a puddle in the sun. One chilly afternoon, Elowen sat at her kitchen table, sipping tea that tasted more like memories than mint. Her phone buzzed, and Gideon's name popped up. Her heart did a little hop, like a bunny spotting a carrot. "Hello, Gideon," she said, her voice bright as a sunflower. "How's my favorite son doing?" Gideon chuckled, but it sounded tight, like a rubber band stretched too far. "Hey, Mom. Just checking in. You okay over there?" "Oh, I'm fine, dear. Just painting a bit, or trying to," Elowen said, glancing at her untouched canvas. "How about you? How's Saffron? And Torin?" "They're great, Smith. Actually, Torin's got this big idea for his business. He's calling it Torin's Tech Tots, something about teaching kids to code. Cool, right? But, he needs a little more cash to get it going." Elowen's smile wobbled. "More? I sent him some last month. How much does he need?" "Not much, just a few thousand. It's a sure thing, Mom. You'll be proud when it takes off." Gideon's voice was smooth, like he was selling ice cream on a hot day. Elowen's fingers tightened around her teacup. "I don't know, Gideon. My savings are getting low. I want to help, but—" "Come on, Mom," Gideon interrupted, his tone sharpening. "Torin's your grandson. Don't you believe in him? Thane would have wanted you to support the kids." The mention of Thane stung like a bee. Elowen's eyes watered, but she nodded to herself. "Okay, I'll see what I can do. But please, tell Torin to be careful with it." "You're the best, Mom," Gideon said, his voice sweet again. "I'll tell him to call you. Gotta run, love you." The line went quiet, and Elowen stared at the phone, feeling like a balloon slowly losing air. She wanted to trust Gideon, but something felt off, like a song played in the wrong key. That evening, Elowen's sister, Vesper, came over. Vesper was 75, with a wild mop of red-dyed hair and a laugh that could wake up a sleeping cat. She plopped onto the couch, kicking off her sparkly sneakers. "Elowen, you look like a rainy day," Vesper said, squinting at her sister. "What's wrong? Spill it." Elowen sighed, setting down a plate of cookies. "It's Gideon. And the kids. They keep asking for money, Vesper. I want to help, but it's like I'm pouring water into a bucket with holes." Vesper grabbed a cookie and took a big bite. Let me guess, Gideon's playing the poor me card, and Saffron and Torin are in on it." Elowen's cheeks turned pink. "They're family, Vesper. They wouldn't, would they?" Vesper leaned forward, her eyes sharp like a hawk's. "Listen, Elowen. I love Gideon, but he's got a streak of sly in him. Remember when he borrowed my car and returned it with a dent? Said it was a tree branch, but I know a shopping cart when I see one. And those grandkids of yours? Saffron's always posting about fancy vacations, and Torin's business sounds like a lemonade stand with a laptop. Elowen's heart sank. But they're all I have left of Thane. If I don't help them, what kind of mother am I? Vesper reached for Elowen's hand, her rings glinting. You're the kind of mother who deserves respect. Look, I'm not saying they're bad people, but you need to protect yourself. Thane would have told you to stand up tall, not let them treat you like a bank. Elowen stared at the floor, her mind swirling like a stormy sea. Gideon asked me to change my will last week. Said it'd make things easier for the kids later. I didn't think much of it, but now. Vesper's eyebrows shot up. Change your will? Oh, honey, that's not a red flag, that's a whole fireworks show. You need to talk to a lawyer, pronto. And maybe snoop a little. Next time they're over, listen close. People like that can't help but slip up. Elowen's hands trembled. Snoop? On my own family? That feels wrong. It's not wrong to protect yourself, Vesper said firmly. You're not just Elowen, the mom and grandma. You're Elowen, the artist, the dreamer, the woman who deserves to smile again. Thane would want that, you know. The words hit Elowen like a warm breeze. She thought of Thane's laugh, how he'd twirl her in the kitchen to old songs. He'd always said, Elowen, you're tougher than you think. Maybe Vesper was right. Maybe it was time to find that strength. The next day, Gideon, Saffron, and Torin came over for dinner. Elowen cooked their favorite, spaghetti with meatballs, and tried to keep her smile steady. But Vesper's words buzzed in her mind like curious bees. So, Grandma, Saffron said, twirling pasta on her fork, how's the painting going? You should sell some. Bet they'd make a ton of money. Elowen's heart skipped. Oh, I don't know. They're just for fun. Torin grinned, his eyes gleaming. Come on, Grandma, you're sitting on a gold mine. I could help you set up a website for them. For a small fee, of course. Gideon laughed, pouring more wine. Torin's got a point, Mom. You should think bigger. Maybe we could fix up this house, too. Get some equity out of it. It's just sitting here. Elowen's spoon froze halfway to her mouth. Equity? My house? She forced a smile. This old place? It's fine for me. Too many memories to change it. Saffron giggled, nudging Torin. Memories are great, but cash is better, right? They all laughed, but Elowen's stomach twisted. After dinner, she excused herself to make tea, leaving them in the living room. She lingered by the doorway, her heart pounding like a drum. Vesper's words echoed, listen close. Man, this house is worth a fortune, she heard Gideon whisper. If we convince her to sell, we're set. And a will? Piece of cake. Saffron snickered. She's so clueless. Keeps sending me rent money like it's candy. Torin's voice was low. My startup is killing it. Well, my new car is. Thanks, Grandma. Elowen's hand flew to her mouth, tears burning her eyes. Her family, her own blood, laughing at her, plotting to take everything. The room spun, but something inside her sparked, like a tiny flame in the dark. She wasn't just a lonely old lady. She was Elowen, and she wasn't going to let them break her. The next morning, Elowen woke up with a heart that felt like it was wrapped in thorns. The words she'd overheard last night, Gideon, Saffron, and Torin laughing, plotting to take her money and house, kept replaying like a bad song stuck in her head. She sat at her kitchen table, staring at a photo of Thane, her husband, who used to make her laugh until her sides hurt. Oh, Thane, she whispered, what would you do? The house was quiet, but her mind was loud, buzzing with hurt and anger. Elowen picked up the phone and dialed Vesper, her sister, who always seemed to know how to untangle life's messes. Vesper answered on the first ring, her voice bright as a firecracker. Elowen. You're up early. What's cooking, sister? Elowen's voice wobbled like a wobbly table. Vesper, you were right. I heard them last night, Gideon, Saffron, Torin. They were laughing at me, saying I'm clueless, planning to take my house, my money, everything. I feel so stupid. Vesper's tone turned sharp, like a pencil freshly sharpened. Stupid? Oh, no, Elowen, you're not stupid. You're kind, and they're taking advantage of that. Tell me exactly what they said. Elowen recounted every word, her voice cracking as she described Saffron's giggle about rent money like candy and Torin's fake startup. By the end, she was crying, but her tears felt hot, like they were made of fire instead of sadness. I've been giving them everything, Vesper. My savings, my heart. And they're just laughing. Vesper was quiet for a moment, then said, Elowen, listen to me. You're not just a piggy bank for them to smash open. You're a painter, a dreamer, a woman who deserves better. We're going to fix this, but you need to be brave. Can you do that? Elowen wiped her eyes, picturing Fane's smile, how he'd call her his brave artist. I think so. But what do I do? They're my family. Family doesn't treat you like a doormat, Vesper said firmly. First, we're calling a lawyer. You need to protect your money and your house. Then, we're getting you out of that lonely house and into a place where people will treat you like the treasure you are. There's a retirement community nearby, Sunny Hills. I checked it out. They've got art classes, dance nights, and people who'll love your stories. Elowen's stomach flipped. Move? Leave my home? Fane and I built this place together. I know, Vesper said softly. But Fane would want you to be happy, not stuck in a house full of sad memories and greedy kids. You don't have to decide today, but let's start with the lawyer. I know a good one, Mirabelle. She's tough as nails and sweet as pie. I'll come with you. By noon, Elowen and Vesper sat in Mirabelle's office, a cozy room with bookshelves and a bowl of colorful candies. Mirabelle, a woman with glasses perched on her nose like a curious bird, listened as Elowen poured out her story. Vesper sat beside her, squeezing her hand. So, Mirabelle said, leaning back, your son and grandkids have been pressuring you for money, and you overheard them planning to manipulate your will and home equity. That's serious, Elowen. But you're here now, and that's the first step to taking back control. Elowen twisted her scarf in her hands. I just wanted to help them. I thought they needed me. Mirabelle's eyes were kind but firm. Helping family is wonderful, but it's not help if they're tricking you. Let's do a few things. First, we'll freeze your bank accounts to stop any more withdrawals. Second, we'll review your will to make sure it reflects what you want, not what they're pushing for. And third, we'll look into your home's equity to protect it. Sound okay? Elowen glanced at Vesper, who nodded like a cheerleader. Okay, Elowen said, her voice small but growing stronger. But what if they get mad? Gideon's already talking about selling my house. Mirabelle smiled, like a fox outsmarting a hound. Let them get mad. Legally, they can't touch what's yours without your consent. And if they try, I'll be your shield. Vesper, you've got a fighter here, don't you? Vesper grinned. Oh, Elowen's tougher than she looks. She just needs a little nudge to remember it. That evening, back at Elowen's house, Vesper helped her pack a small bag. Just for a visit to Sunny Hills, Vesper said. See if you like it. No pressure. Elowen hesitated, holding a photo of Fane. What if I'm making a mistake? What if they're not as bad as I think? Vesper sat on the couch, patting the spot next to her. Elowen, let's talk straight. You heard them mocking you. That's not love, that's greed. I know it hurts, like a knife in your heart, but you deserve people who lift you up, not drag you down. Remember Ansel? Elowen's cheeks turned pink. Ansel was a kind man she'd met years ago at an art class. They'd danced under the stars once, his laugh warm like summer, but Gideon had said Ansel was too old and not family, so Elowen had pulled away. Ansel, he was sweet. But that was so long ago. He's at Sunny Hills now, Vesper said, her eyes twinkling like stars. I ran into him last month. He asked about you, said you were the best dance partner he ever had. Maybe it's time to find that spark again. Elowen's heart did a little flip, like a butterfly waking up. You think he'd want to see me? After all this time? Only one way to find out, Vesper said, winking. But first, let's get you to Sunny Hills. Try it for a week. Paint, laugh, make new friends. If it's not for you, we'll figure something else out. Deal? Elowen took a deep breath, feeling like she was standing at the edge of a diving board. Deal, she said, her voice steadier now. The next day, Elowen and Vesper drove to Sunny Hills, a bright place with gardens full of flowers and people chatting like old friends. As they walked through the lobby, a man with silver hair and a warm smile waved at them. It was Ansel. Elowen's heart raced, like she was a kid on the first day of school. Elowen, Ansel said, his voice soft but surprised. Is that really you? Elowen smiled, nervous but hopeful. It's me, Ansel. I'm thinking of staying here for a bit. Ansel's eyes lit up like a sunrise. Well, that's the best news I've heard all year. You still paint those beautiful flowers? Elowen laughed, a sound she hadn't heard from herself in too long. I'm trying to. Maybe you can help me remember how. Vesper nudged her, whispering, See? Told you. As they toured Sunny Hills, Elowen felt a tiny spark of hope, like a candle flickering in a dark room. But back home, her phone buzzed with a text from Gideon. Mom, we need to talk. Why'd you freeze the accounts? Her stomach twisted. The fight wasn't over, but Elowen was ready to stand her ground, with Vesper and maybe even Ansel by her side. Elowen stood in her new room at Sunny Hills, a cozy space with a big window that let sunlight spill in like golden syrup. The walls were bare, but she'd brought her favorite paintbrushes and a canvas, hoping to fill the room with her art. It had been a week since she'd moved in, and though her heart still ached from Gideon, Saffron, and Torrance betrayal, Sunny Hills felt like a warm blanket after a cold day. Vesper had been right. There were people here who smiled at her stories, laughed at her jokes, and made her feel like she belonged. Today, Elowen was joining an art class, something she hadn't done since Thane was alive. As she walked to the community room, her shoes squeaking on the shiny floor, she spotted Ansel setting up easels. His silver hair caught the light, and his grin was like a lighthouse in a storm. Elowen, Ansel called, waving her over. You ready to paint the world today? Elowen's cheeks warmed, like she was a kid caught sneaking a cookie. Oh, Ansel, I don't know. My brushes haven't touched paint in ages. What if I've forgotten how? Ansel handed her a canvas, his eyes twinkling like stars. Forgotten? You? Never. I still remember that sunflower you painted years ago. It was so bright, I thought it'd bloom right off the canvas. Come on, let's make something beautiful together. Elowen laughed, a sound that felt like bubbles popping. You're too kind, Ansel. What are we painting today? Whatever's in your heart, he said, dipping a brush in blue paint. Me, I'm painting the ocean. Reminds me of the time I took my grandkids to the beach. What about you? What's in your heart, Elowen? She paused, her brush hovering over the canvas. I don't know. It's been heavy lately. My son, Gideon, and my grandkids, they hurt me, Ansel. They were using me, taking my money, laughing behind my back. I feel like a fool. Ansel's face softened, like a cloud settling over the sun. He set his brush down and pulled up a chair. You're no fool, Elowen. You've got a heart bigger than this whole place. They took advantage of that, but that's on them, not you. Tell me about it, if you want. Elowen took a deep breath, her words spilling out like water from a tipped cup. I gave them everything, money for rent, for Torrance so-called business. I thought I was helping my family. But I heard them, Ansel, plotting to take my house, my savings. Gideon even wanted to change my will. I trusted them because they're Thane's family, but now I don't know who they are. Ansel reached for her hand, his touch warm and steady. That's a heavy load to carry, Elowen. But you're here now, painting again, living again. That's brave. Thane would be proud, you know. He always said you were his spark. Elowen's eyes watered, but she smiled. You remember Thane's words? Every one, Ansel said. He told me once, Ansel, Elowen's tougher than a storm, but she's got a heart like a sunny day. He was right. You're finding that strength now, aren't you? Elowen nodded, dipping her brush in red paint. I'm trying. Vesper helped me see a lawyer, Mirabelle. We froze my accounts, and I'm fixing my will. But Gideon keeps texting, asking why I shut him out. I'm scared to face him, Ansel. What if he makes me feel small again? Ansel leaned closer, his voice low but firm. You're not small, Elowen. You're a mountain, and mountains don't budge for anyone. If Gideon comes, you tell him what's what. And if you need backup, I'll be right there, waving a paintbrush like a sword. Elowen giggled, the sound surprising her. You'd fight my son with a paintbrush? For you? I'd fight a dragon with a toothpick. Ansel said, grinning. Now, paint something bold. Show the world Elowen's back. Inspired, Elowen painted a fiery sunset, all oranges and pinks, like her heart waking up. The class clapped when she finished, and for the first time in years, she felt like she was more than a lonely grandma. She was Elowen, the artist. But that evening, as she sat in the Sunny Hills dining hall, her phone buzzed. It was Gideon, and this time, he wasn't texting, he was calling. Her stomach twisted like a knot, but she answered, her voice shaky but clear. Mom, what's going on? Gideon's voice was loud, like a storm cloud. You froze the accounts? Torrin's business is tanking because of you. And Saffron says you're ignoring her. What's gotten into you? Elowen's heart pounded, but she thought of Ansel's words, of Thane's smile. Gideon, I heard you. All of you. Laughing at me, calling me clueless, planning to take my house. I'm done being your bank. There was a pause, then Gideon's voice turned sweet, like syrup gone bad. Mom, you've got it all wrong. We love you. We'd never hurt you. Torrin's business is real, and Saffron's struggling with rent. We just need a little help, that's all. Elowen's hands shook, but her voice grew stronger, like a tree standing tall in the wind. No, Gideon. I heard you say my house is a fortune. I heard Saffron laugh about my money. I'm not clueless anymore. If you want to be my family, you need to respect me, not my wallet. Gideon's tone hardened. You're being selfish, Mom. After everything we've done for you? Thane would be ashamed. The word stung, but Elowen pictured Ansel's paintbrush sword, Vesper's fiery hair, Thane's proud smile. Don't you dare bring Thane into this, she said, her voice like thunder. He loved me, and he'd want me to be happy, not used. I'm living my life now, Gideon. If you want to be part of it, you'll have to show me you're family, not thieves. She hung up, her heart racing but light, like a bird taking flight. Across the dining hall, Ansel waved, holding up a sketch of a sunflower. For you, he called, and Elowen smiled, feeling like she was painting her life in new colors. Back in her room, she called Vesper, who whooped when she heard about the call. That's my sister. Vesper said. You told him off like a queen. Now, what's next? You staying at Sunny Hills? I think so, Elowen said, looking at her sunset painting. I'm painting again, Vesper. And Ansel, he's kind. I feel like me again, not just a mom or grandma. That's the spirit. Vesper said. Keep painting, keep shining. And if Gideon tries anything, Mirabelle and I will have your back. You're not alone, Elowen. As she hung up, Elowen looked out her window at the stars. For the first time in years, she felt like they were shining just for her. Elowen's new life at Sunny Hills bloomed like a garden in spring. Her room, once bare, now burst with color. Paintings of sunsets, flowers, and starry skies covered the walls, each one a piece of her heart coming back to life. It had been a month since she'd stood up to Gideon, and though her phone still buzzed with his messages, she felt stronger every day, like a tree growing new branches. Sunny Hills wasn't just a place to live, it was a home where people laughed with her, not at her. She taught art classes, danced at Friday night gatherings, and found herself smiling more than she had in years. One sunny afternoon, Elowen sat in the community garden, sketching a rosebush with Ansel by her side. His hands, rough from years of woodworking, held a pencil as he tried to draw a bird. "Elowen, how do you make this look like a sparrow and not a lumpy potato?" he asked, squinting at his paper. Elowen giggled, her silver hair catching the sunlight like a halo. "Oh, Ansel, it's not a potato. Look at some feathers here, like this." She leaned over, guiding his hand, and their fingers brushed, sending a warm flutter through her chest, like butterflies waking up. "See? Now it's a bird." Ansel grinned, his eyes crinkling like crumpled paper. "You're a miracle worker, Elowen. You know, I've been thinking we should dance again like we did years ago. There's a dance tonight. Will you be my partner?" Elowen's cheeks turned pink like the roses around them. "Me? Dance? I'm not as spry as I used to be, Ansel." "Nonsense," he said, standing and offering his hand. "You're as graceful as ever. Besides, Thane told me you could dance circles around anyone. Let's make him proud." Elowen's heart swelled, thinking of Thane's laugh, how he'd twirl her in their kitchen. "Okay, Ansel. One dance. But if I step on your toes, don't blame me." That evening, the Sunny Hills dance hall sparkled with lights, and music floated like a gentle breeze. Elowen wore a blue dress that shimmered like the sea, and Ansel, in a neat sweater, led her to the dance floor. As they swayed to an old song, Elowen felt young again, like a girl spinning in a meadow. "Ansel," she said softly, "thank you for making me feel alive." Ansel's eyes were warm, like a cozy fire. "Elowen, you've always been alive. You just needed a little light to shine again. I'm glad I get to be part of it." Their dance was interrupted by a sharp voice at the door. "Mom!" Gideon stood there, his face red as a tomato, with Saffron and Torin behind him. The music seemed to pause, and Elowen's heart thudded like a drum. She hadn't seen them since she'd moved, and their sudden appearance felt like a storm cloud over her sunny day. Ansel squeezed her hand. "You've got this, Elowen. I'm right here." Elowen took a deep breath, standing tall like a mountain. "Gideon, what are you doing here?" Gideon stepped forward, his voice loud but shaky. "What am I doing? You're the one who ran off, froze our accounts, and left us hanging. Torin's business is ruined, and Saffron's behind on rent. You're our mom, our grandma, how could you do this?" Saffron crossed her arms, her eyes narrow. "Yeah, Grandma, you're acting like we're the bad guys. We just needed help." Torin nodded, his voice whiny. "My startup was so close to taking off. You're killing my dreams." Elowen's hands trembled, but she thought of Vesper's fiery spirit, Ansel's kind smile, and Thane's belief in her strength. "I heard you," she said, her voice clear as a bell. "That night at my house, you laughed at me. Called me clueless. Plotted to take my home, my money. I gave you everything because I love you, but you treated me like a bank, not a mother." Gideon's face softened, but his eyes were sly, like a fox. "Mom, you're blowing this out of proportion. We love you. We'd never hurt you. Let's go home, fix the accounts, and be a family again." Elowen shook her head, her voice steady. "No, Gideon. Family doesn't mock or steal. I've found a new home here, with people who care about me, not my money. I've changed my will, protected my house. If you want to be my family, you need to earn my trust. Respect me, not my wallet. Saffron's jaw dropped. You're choosing strangers over us? That's cold, Grandma. It's not cold, Elowen said, her eyes flashing like lightning. It's warm here, full of friends who make me smile. I'm painting again, dancing, living. I deserve that, and Thane would agree. Torin scoffed, but his voice was small. You're being dramatic. We're your family. Then act like it, Elowen said. Say you're sorry. Show me you care. Until then, I'm done being used. Gideon's face twisted, like he'd bitten a lemon. You'll regret this, Mum. You're all alone now. Ansel stepped forward, his voice firm. She's not alone. She's got us. And if you can't see how special she is, that's your loss. The room was quiet, and the other residents nodded, their faces like a wall of support. Gideon, Saffron, and Torin stood there, speechless, then turned and left, their footsteps echoing like a fading storm. Elowen's knees wobbled, but Ansel caught her arm. You were amazing, he whispered. Like a queen. Later, Elowen sat with Vesper on the phone, telling her everything. I did it, Vesper, she said, her voice shaky but proud. I told them no. But it hurts. They're still my family. Vesper's laugh was like a warm hug. Oh, Elowen, you're a lion. It hurts because you love them, but you did the right thing. You're living for you now, painting, dancing with that sweet Ansel. If they come around, great. If not, you've got a whole new family at Sunny Hills. Elowen smiled, looking at her latest painting, a bright horizon with a tiny figure dancing under the stars. You're right, Vesper. I'm not alone. I'm Elowen and I'm happy. That night, as she danced with Ansel under the twinkling lights, Elowen felt like a star herself, shining brighter than ever. She'd lost her old family's trust, but she'd found herself, and that was worth more than all the money in the world.